Hail, hail! The Celts are here, and a wee bit of an unexpected one today, guys. I've got the breakdown of the game yesterday, for any that are interested in that. Recorded and it's been edited at the moment. It could have been live tonight, but I'm probably just going to delay it. We'll put it out first thing in the morning because we can come live today and have a wee bit of a chat about some stuff. You'll have seen it from the headline already. I'm in my casuals. I was chilling out on a Sunday, playing a wee bit of Ark Raiders, and thought, let's just jump on and tackle this one live because the rumors were kind of swirling around for the last couple of days, but it feels like everything is about to be ratified. We've got the signing of Jocelyn Ta Bi. Let me just go and find a report that we've had because, well, this is a decent from the data boys. But yeah, let's just let's pop this on screen. And yeah, there we go. So Jocelyn Ta Bi is a name that's been doing the rounds for the last couple of days, maybe the last week or two. So not a new name. Anthony Joseph and a bunch of others have been on to confirm the Celtic have made a bid of around £2 million for this guy. And part of the fee will be to cancel his loan that he's got at the moment. I put a tweet out on this myself and I had some great interactions. So I'll try and bring some of them up because they add a bit of insight, a bit of intel. I don't follow Israeli football and I really get upset at Celtic when we do continually shop in the bargain basement leagues. You know, obviously we had the likes of Naroki and Lagerbielke and even Tunecki coming from like Sweden and Poland. We've shopped in Israel a bunch of times, and I just you know, like why we don't have a budget to be shopping in the bargain basement. It is dire straits, and we really should be getting known quality and known talent. I'm not going to write this guy off, and he could still be fine. Don't get me wrong. Data boys have put a nice profile kind of piece out here with the stats radar and heat maps and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting. You can see he's like a wingery winger. And if we look at the actual statistics here, progressive runs per 90. So if you think about Yang and his goal at the weekend, that was a progressive. There's probably like 3 progressive runs in that move, you know. So he brings that kind of thing to the party. Deep completions per 90 is quite high as well. So what that means is he's generally, you know, deep completions are completing passes and stuff like that, high into the pitch. Some people call that a final third. Some people just call it deep. And what else kind of spikes out? Aerial duels, actually not too bad considering he looks quite slight. And expected assists per 90 is, you know, is one of the peakier elements of this. So some interesting stuff there. And this is positional peers in neighbouring UEFA ranked nations. Okay, so this is in comparison with the Israeli league to the Hungarian league, the Polish league, the Swedish league, these other ones that are just the bottom runs, Slovenia, Slovakia, Romania, all these types of leagues, you know. So and this is in terms of percentile where he lives. So XG per 90, he's expected to score more than he has done. Progressive runs per 90, he's off the charts in these leagues, in these territories. He's in the 98th percentile. So when you're looking in those bargain basement leagues, apparently there's not many better progressive runners than Jocelyn Ta Bi. And then the deep completions thing again as well. He's getting into the final third and playing crosses, square balls, that kind of thing. So he does have, he has something. He has something to offer. No two ways about it. When we look at him on Transfermarkt, though, this is where I'm seeing a lot of people getting a bit upset by it. He's rated at 375k. Now, we do a lot of content on this channel around, you know, Transfermarkt. We use Transfermarkt as a source very regularly, and these transfer values are very abstract, and I try and use them sometime as a frame of reference. But this guy, like, let's call it how it is. These transfer values are on paper, you know, contract status, what league he's in, caps, age, etc. And the reality of it is, like, you know, what the fee is what the fee is. So I'm not really too upset that this guy is £2 million. I'm not really, you know, really arsed about that, to be honest. Sorry about the language. At 1m75, he's a little bit shorter than me, but he's certainly not a small guy. 2 goals and 2 assists and 12 appearances. His contract is up in the summer. So that's maybe something that makes you think, why are we spending nice money for a guy in a very £2 million for an Israeli team to pull in £2 million? It's not a normal transfer fee. It's like Motherwell got £2 million for somebody, for example, or St Mirren. It would be a bit of a cash boost, and especially the way everything's going at the moment with Israel and everything else, that's quite a chunky transfer fee. Now, this is something I wanted to address, right? Because like Celtic and Genk are interested in him, right? Now, Genk and Belgian clubs especially, right? They stack guys up like this big time. Now, can we even just click on this and look at Genk for a second? Belgium, as you guys will know, this has just got us onto the rumours page. No, we don't want the rumour mill of Genk. We want the actual Genk team. But these guys in Belgium, because of their like immigration laws or whatever, Africans are in Belgium all the time. It's a very well-trodden path, as it were. Lots of African players go to Belgium, all manner of clubs, top and bottom of the league, and they use that as a platform to really go and kick on their division. And the strategy a lot of these clubs have is get them in cheap and stack them up high. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And like again, a good example of this. Yeah, they maybe are, because like I know the O starts all the time. Junior Ito has just returned to them. But see the rest of these guys, look at this. 21-year-old Cameroonian signed from, I don't know that badge. It could be Hammerby or something. No, it's not. It's Vastesas. That looks like Finnish, maybe. There's a Belgian guy they've got from Ghent. There's a guy they've bought from Hammerby. They spent 5 million euros on him. Arabi. We might have been linked to him. His name looks a little bit familiar. They then got this guy, Yokoyama, 900k year sore. They spent is valued at 3 million. And then Noah Adeji Sternberg, and the values or whatever. Again, if we look at all the Belgian teams, you're going to find lots of random guys that don't feature that they bring in. And some of them will get into the first team, some of them won't. And they've got a good system of like cutting their losses on people, loaning them out. And they, it's a volume game they play in Belgium, because they are buying cheap. So when you buy cheap, you buy twice, and that's a negative and a positive. So I don't take the fact that there was Genk involvement in this as anything credible, to be honest with you. I am also sick to the back teeth of us only signing guys that the fish that jump into the boat. We spoke about this yesterday in the pre-match breakdown, where Julian Araujo, Marcelo Sarace, even Iheanacho, these guys are like, no one else is interested in them. No one else is going in for them. And it's, not that that's the be all and end all of things, but we at this point need specific things. And the things that we need, do you know what? They don't come freely, easily, or cheaply. You need to go and outbid other people, push the case, make Celtic the destination of choice for the strikers and other people that we need. Thomas Burns, this is kind of what I'm getting onto. And I kind of, like 2 million for the guy is obscene. I kind of get that in the marketplace. But if you think about Sebastian Taneke, and forget that we paid 5 million for him, because we all know that that's not his value. And Hammerby just wanted to keep him, and Celtic were desperate to make a signing, which is why we paid so much over the odds. But Sebastian Taneke and guys like that, Palma, and even your Yangs and your Tilios and whatever, spending 2-3 million quid on these guys isn't an issue, really, to be honest with you. As long as they're well profiled, and if even Yang, let's think about the spectrum as Yang to Tilio for these guys, right? Where they either come in and you realize very quickly this guy's not up to the level, clearly. Or it's someone like Yang, where it's like, okay, they bring something. They're not ready to change the team. They're not ready to implement the team yet, or be implemented in the team. But, like we can maybe use them here and there, and in dire straits, they'll get more minutes, and maybe they can develop. 2 million quid for a guy like that is fine. I really don't mind it, to be honest with you. The main problem I have with it is when you look at the squad, it is just the furthest thing that we need right now. We do not need another right winger. We've just brought in Araujo. Yang has become one of the best players in the squad, and we still have Jota to come back from injury. Balikwisha, no one, God knows what's happening with this guy. I thought he would probably be on his way out in January the way things were going, but again, you just never know. And we've still got Taneke to come back from AFCON. Never mind Sarace on the left-hand side to make it even easier to play Yang, and maybe even Taneke on the right-hand side. I really just don't get it in some ways. I don't understand it. Also today, we have had the confirmation that Inamura is now away to Tokyo on loan until the end of season. And I read that as our season. The J-League kicks off generally like February, March, something like that. And it will run calendar year. They're going to change their cycle soon enough. But I think Inamura will be back in the summer. But he's away for a loan to Tokyo. Tokyo, pretty good team, by the way. If Inamura goes there and plays well, that is a really solid... I'd see buying Inamura for 300k, bring him in, test the water with him, see what he's made of, and then send him somewhere to get, like we've seen it with Naroki, we've seen it even with Palma this season, and years gone by, the likes of even Mikey Johnson and one or two others have done well with just going out and getting the minutes and then coming back and having another crack at the whip. So I'm happy to keep the door open for Namura. We don't toss him the baby out with the bathwater on him. But we've also had the confirmation that JSP, his loan has been cancelled and he is now away to Cologne. And I think Cologne is in the Bundesliga, so he's away to the Bundesliga. So thanks for the memories, JSP. What that's worth. And yeah, so we've had some movements on the way out. Odenholm should be back in the squad, but really, like, who even knows what his position is with Celtic at this point with the medical issues he's had. And really, I'm starting to think with Araujo coming in, Alistair Johnson, they might not be thinking he's going to make it back in time for the end of the season. Carter Vickers we expect to be out for the remainder of the year. Defence is something that we need, certainly. Centre of midfield, again, I cannot imagine Bernardo is at Celtic by the end of the window. And we definitely need some more grit in there. Where Araujo is actually going to fit into the picture, though, becomes questionable, because another thing that's kind of doing the rounds now is Stephen Morea was pictured in the director's box at Celtic Park. Now, this is one of two things, right? Number one, he's French-ish, you know, and Nancy signed him. He's a very important player for Wilfried Nancy, and MLS is in its off-season. Celtic Rangers is a big game. Him and Nancy might be tight. Maybe he was just over to watch the game. Wouldn't rule it out. The other side of that is it might be someone that we're going to sign. Now, I don't like and I don't mind this prospect all at the same time. Stephen Morea is 31 years of age. He's certainly not a spring chicken. But defenders, I don't mind experience, to be honest with you. He's an MLS Cup winner. He's won Leagues Cup and he's won Campiones Cup. He's got a few winners' medals around his neck playing in MLS. Now, I'm on record already as saying we don't want to be buying defenders from MLS, and I will stand by that, even in the case that we sign Stephen Morea. His contract is up at the end of 2026, so if it is a transfer, it shouldn't be that expensive. He's valued at $1.5 million. This is a guy I could see transferring for that type of fee, or it might even be that number, but dollars, which in pounds obviously is less. And, you know, the thing that, you know, he's a France Youth International, which I quite like as well, to be honest with you. And prior to moving to Columbus, was a quite I don't want to say formidable, you know, but 113 appearances in Ligue 1, 65 appearances in Ligue 2, some games in the Cup and all that kind of thing. He's clearly like a Christopher Jullien. Like, Jullien was like Ligue 1, now plays Ligue 2 type player. And he's obviously different to Jullien in a lot of different ways, but standard. I think this guy offers something. He's got a little bit of, you know, he was playing in one of the top leagues in Europe as like a bit part defender for the likes of Lorient. I think mainly, I don't think he really played for Lens, maybe a wee bit of Toulouse. And, you know, he's went to America, he's done some stuff. He knows the manager well. He would be really cheap. His wages would be very Celtic, you know, very Celtic wages. Being a Cape Verde international, I don't think that really does anything for us. North American international windows generally land in the same as the European ones. There's a lot of travel, air miles and stuff, fine. But if he was to be brought into the picture and, you know, JSP is just left and Amura is just left, the new manager doesn't seem to be ready to use Dane Murray. Kobe Donovan has been used very sparingly. And we really just do, in Wilfried Nancy's eyes, I think, we only have these defenders. Yeah, sure, Sriracha. Yeah, sure, Araujo, fine. But I think the manager's looking at this and saying we need someone else in quick. And again, he's going to bring in someone that he can trust, someone that he can rely upon, and someone that's going to fit the budget as well. And I think if you did add Stephen Morea in here, it's not a guy I'm that up on. I've not watched a lot of Columbus for the last year and a bit, to be honest with you. And I think that's when he's kind of rose to prominence for them. But he will suit this system way better than Anthony Ralston. He's been doing this exact job for Wilfried Nancy prior to Nancy coming to Celtic. And to get a wee guy like this in on the cheap that can just do a job and fill a gap in the Jeffrey Schlupp type mold, I don't really mind it. It's not really a problem solver. It doesn't move us on. But again, for you guys that are nervous around, oh, we don't want Tisdale and Nancy spending money, Morea and even the Ta Bi, like, I don't really think about them as a worry in that regard. Where I get worried is who the hell is pulling the strings, who the hell is negotiating transfers for us, because it's been as clear as day that we need a striker to come in as soon as possible. We've needed a striker since the moment the Young Boys game finished, because at the final whistle of the Young Boys game, just to remind you all, Kyogo was flying away after the Young Boys game. That was 3-4 days before the end of the January window, and we have needed a Kyogo replacement since then. The club then cheaped it up. We did a whole video on this if you want to check it out, the striker thing, and used Ida and Maeda as the Kyogo replacement for a while. And then we get into the summer and we then sell Ida. We then have 10 million quid ready to go for Casper Dolberg, and Ajax then go and take him off our hands. We then obviously lose Adam Ida, and we bring in Iheanacho. No harm to him, right? But Iheanacho at peak is striker 1B for Celtic. We are still very much in need of striker 1A. And like I was saying a moment ago in the stream, this isn't news. We should have been working on this since January, a year ago. And then when the summer window closes, especially with the eye of the storm and the ire and the for all everything that's going around, you have what have Celtic been doing? What have they been doing? We have no rumours. We have no links. We are not in competition to sign anyone. And like I mentioned with the Ta Bi, let's add Ta Bi into the picture here as well. And even the Maria type situation. And you can even say the same for Julian Araujo, is we are not competing in the transfer market. We are maybe participating is the word for it, but we are waiting for people to phone us up and say, yeah, I'll come to Celtic. No problem. Like, that's just not the way you're going to build a team like Celtic to kick on. Now, I had this kind of minor epiphany. I recorded the Rangers breakdown earlier, about probably tomorrow now at this point. And I was thinking, like all the stuff that makes me want to cling on by my fingertips to the idea of Nancy working at Celtic is for the longer vision. And what I mean by that, and I've said it already, but just to repeat it real quickly, is having a manager that can make lemons out of lemonade, to having a manager that can bridge a bit of a gap that we have at the moment, European-wise, in terms of, like we've seen some progress, but under this new format, we need to be in a situation where the pot 4, the pot 3 teams, if and when we get back into the Champions League, are beatable home and away. And Rodgers offered that, Ange offered that. They had mixed success, and that's the sort of development I want to see at Celtic. Now, I think it's worth persevering with Nancy if the strategy is to return to the European status that we had only 12 months ago. But with this lack of ambition, we have no links to any striker. We are not in competition for anyone, and we're still shopping around bargain basement transfers. If the objective of Celtic having Wilfried Nancy is just to return to status quo, doubles, trebles, all that caper again, it isn't worth it. It is not worth the teething process. It is not worth the penance that we're all paying just now of throwing points away, of, putting Anthony Ralston in and right centre back and Luke McCowan in at left back. And it's not worth it. The juice is not going to be worth the squeeze if we are not going to try and regain our European status that we've had over last season, I would probably say especially, but we've been in European competitions often enough in the last 4 years. I would say we're definitely considered again a Champions League club in terms of participation, minus this season. So with that in mind, we have 70 to 90 million pound in the bank. We have a lot of problems, and for Celtic at this stage to not do the business that is required, I don't think Wilfried Nancy, if it does work out, Celtic are not going to become anew. They're not going to reach a new chapter. They're not going to change. And that's part, and some of the responses I had, let's go and put the tweet up, because I see I got some great interactions on it from you guys, offering some insight and all the rest of it. But a lot of it was saying stuff like, why are we surprised, and all the rest of it. And I am surprised. Where the hell was it? But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I can't see it here. Yeah, I wonder why we are surprised. I'm not surprised, right? But see, when the club say things, and you have to believe that they believe the madness that they come out with, the what's the word? They're like in an alternate reality, they are like not in the same planet as everyone else. And if they do believe the things that they say, they should not continue to act in this way that we have been upset about, buying bargain basement guys that have never played in European football, have never played in a credible league, have never done any of the things that we want them to do. Now, yes, buying ready-made off the shelf, guys, is not always going to be something that we're going to be able to do down to other market forces, like other teams that are interested, wages, and all that kind of thing. We get it. But if you're trying to tell me that this Jocelyn Ta Bi, Stephen Maria, if that happens, and Julian Araujo are so good and are going to fix our problems that they should be the transfers that we are putting time, energy, and resources into bringing in early in the January window versus a striker is madness. Is crazy. I'm getting a bit distracted with the comments as well. Sorry. Will you be attending matches going forward? I've only been to, I've been to opening game of the season and I've been at Braga at home. I think they're the only games I've made it. Or have I been to 2 Europa games? I might have been to 2. I've not been to much, and it's always for work. You know, Celtic have gave us like pitch side access to interview players or something like that before they cut us off. I'm certainly not planning on it. I don't own a season ticket. I'm not looking at general sale tickets to try and get any, to be honest with you. But like I've always maintained, like if Celtic are going to open the door and invite us in, I'm always going to go. You know, it's part of the gig here. Celtic media, Celtic fan media, especially the content that we make on this channel, it is about the team. And when I get in there, you know, I ask questions that I want answers to. And you guys that like this content, you like the stuff that we talk about. So the stuff I ask, I want to ask because no one fucking else asks it. You know what I mean? We went a whole week. Hatate wasn't in a squad. No one knew why for a full week. We did the anyway, I'm not going to get into all that crap, but to still be spending this type of money. And the thing about Celtic is we know that we cannot operate on multiple fronts. This will be the only thing that they are doing now is signing on Jocelyn Ta Bi, is signing on Stephen Maria. We can operate on multiple fronts. Well, that's an interesting story. I was very close to getting my season ticket right before Brendan Rodgers was appointed because, as you'll remember, we had the top stand closed and getting a season ticket for the first time in my life was going to be achievable. And then we brought back Brendan and that just totally changed. So I've just never really had the opportunity, time, money, desire. Because again, other times, yeah, this hasn't always been my full-time job. I've been doing content now for 3-4 years. Before that, I had other stuff and kids and whatever. So that's why, ultimately, no real reason beyond that. Depending on the quality of the striker, could be late in the window. So that is, you know, that's maybe something to be reasonable about, I suppose, because, you know, if we are in competition for a highly sought after striker, they should have offers from somewhere else. And we should be in a position of having to push the boat out to, you know, get these people in. And yeah, maybe they'll want to see, do we qualify for the Europa League knockout round? I don't know why that would be a deciding factor on a transfer, but yeah, it might be, oh, if I can't move to the Premier League, I'll go to Celtic, or if I can't move to France, I'll go to Celtic. And yeah, we don't want to be second choice, but if it is like a tippy top target, I don't care really, to be honest with you. I'll take them all day long as they're good enough and they're going to improve the squad. I have not got any info about anything like that, sorry. Karim Kanate has got a lot of injuries. That's the only thing I would say about that. Good profile, but on paper is exactly what we need. Great point as well. Are you joking? I should keep Nancy. No, I'm not. I'm not saying to keep him, but I'm saying like if Celtic are like, we are sticking by him, right? We are going to stick by him. We're going to give him this time. And any fans that wanted to join that mindset, which after the derby yesterday, like I say, I can't see how this goes on. And part of the epiphany that I shared a moment ago that I'll talk about again the now is that like I don't mind all of this pain if there's like something's going to be different when we come out the back end of it. But I had this epiphany after recording the breakdown where I don't believe that. When we're signing Jocelyn Ta Bi, this is Celtic 101. We have been doing these transfers for years. Nothing is changing. We could not have more money in the bank. And the money in the bank is meant to be the rainy day fund for when things don't go our way, for when we don't qualify for the Champions League, for when we don't have a marquee player to sell to fund all of our transfer activity. We're in the rainy day. And the rainy day fund is nowhere to be seen. We're still doing bargain basement. We're still at Poundland. We're still looking for diamonds in the rough that we can polish up and maybe make into a half decent player. This is the time where we should be going out. And I've did enough videos talking about targets and profiles of stuff and whatever, where we should be buying another Austin Trusty, another £6 million centre back. Go and get him. Another £10 million midfielder. Go and get him. Another striker. Well, Dahlberg wasn't signed, but another £10 million rated striker. Go and get them. We did a video, we did a little mini series over Christmas talking about the transfer stuff. The #1 video in the series, it was a little 3-parter. We discussed the squad and everything. Celtic are £25 million up in the 25-26 transfer windows from the summer and currently sitting at the moment. We cannot finish the January window in profit. We really should be at a debt. We should be spending money. And again, it's just crazy, man. Honestly, I don't know how they can believe the crap that they come out with when they say it's not even saying one thing and doing another, but they say one thing like we're doing well. We've never been as rich. We've never had such an expensive squad. The last 10, 15 years is unprecedented success. And, we're doing a great job and we really know what we're doing. And then to do what they're doing, it's not even saying one thing and doing another, but for them to say that stuff and then act this way, which is like only going to further compound the situation that we're in, that we don't have ready-made, off-the-shelf players to come in and make a difference. Again, if you even look at that Rangers side yesterday, I know a lot of the players they've got are pretty mince and stuff like that, right? They're not terribly high level, but a lot of the guys that they've signed have played in the lower leagues of England or in and around the European kind of scene in some regard. And yeah, they're not great or whatever, but at least there's a kind of floor level there that sorry, the chat's kind of caught me. Yeah, exactly. I know that too. It was, well, I think even if Ajax had matched us pound for pound, Dahlberg was going to go back to Ajax. I think his wife is from Amsterdam. So as soon as they come in, it was just not going to happen. Who's 30 million already? Sorry. Saving money on transfers is no longer accessible for transfers. Yeah, I'm with you, I think. I'm not too sure I read that properly, but I think I'm with you. Yeah, I think I think he was going to, but I think he wasn't right up for it, Yeah, and that's it. But I'm forever kind of right. Okay, well I'm an idiot, right? I am an idiot in this case where I hear them talking like this all the time, and every time they say stuff, I always just rub my hands and go, "Brilliant! Like, let's see you back it up," and they never do. They never ever do. And I can't say this enough, but what have they been doing this whole time, really? Yeah, outbound. Again, like I've kind of so there's a few other things I want to talk on here as well. I'll kind of come back to the outbound, inbound things at the moment, right? But we have also on the DL appointed a new scout. Now you might remember our head scout went to Swansea. He had a kind of funny name, and there was some rumours and suggestions that he was part of the friction in the back office. We've taken in James Walker-Bell from Chelsea. Now this guy's got a pretty good write up, I think, by all accounts. He was initially UK regional coordinator as a scout for Chelsea. I don't really know what that means too much, before becoming a positional scout, where his job for Chelsea was to scout central defenders and central strikers. And then 18 months later, so we kind of need to reverse engineer this, right? He left in October. His final 18 months, he was doing South American jobs, which helped them bring in Andre Santos and Estevao, who are both wonder kids, clear talents. I could have spotted them. You could have spotted them. It's no big shakes that Chelsea have a guy that finds wonder kids. We could have all done that job, to be honest with you, right? October, minus 18 months from that, we're going back into early 2024, right? Early 2024, and then further back behind that, he was in charge for signing central defenders and central strikers for Chelsea, right? So let's go and have a look at Chelsea's business with central defenders and central strikers from, let's say, January 25 back for, how long was he at Chelsea? I think it says it somewhere. I think he was there for a while, a couple of years. Let's just even say 2 seasons or something, right? So let's look at Chelsea. Let's go down to the transfers. He left October, so it was after the summer window where he was interested in the South Americans. Oh, there we go. No, this is rankings and stuff. Where the hell's the transfers? Transfer marks can be a bit annoying sometimes. Oh, there we go. Arrivals. Now, I kind of know Chelsea's business already. I've not looked ahead to this, right? So we're saying, when are we starting this from? January 24 backwards. So let's have a look. Or would that be? It'll be January 25, I beg your pardon. It doesn't differentiate. Oh, it does. It doesn't tell us when they joined, sadly, when we look at this here. I can't remember who the January signings were now, to be quite honest with you. But I do know, like, over that time, Chelsea have signed a lot of centre-backs and a lot of... Sorry, I've got the wrong tab on. A lot of strikers. So in this 24-25 season that he would have been in charge for, they signed Aaron Anselmo, who's now at Dortmund, doing quite okay. They signed Renato Vega, who was a midfielder turned centre-back. They signed Mark Guéhi from Barcelona. That was a bit of a rubbish transfer, to be honest with you. They also brought in João Felix, bad transfer. Axel Disasi, bad transfer. Renato Vega, Armando Broja. Yeah, these are just low. Oh, there's 2 pages. Jesus, man. Chelsea are busy, aren't they? I kind of know with their centre-backs and their strikers over this time, to be honest with you. They've not done good business. Chelsea's main problems has been striker and centre-back. Datro Fofana was signed as well. Okay, and then let's go back to the window before this. So I don't think this guy's a silver bullet, that he's some sort of mad talent scout spotter. The benefit you get with a guy like this is he's used to high level. He's used to big infrastructure, big objectives, and knowing what the big teams look for. So if you can have those eyes at Celtic, and if you think about Matt O'Reilly, that's kind of our gig here, is we want to find guys that we can sell to Chelsea. So knowing what Chelsea likes and those types of teams is valuable, okay? But looking at this guy's CV, and like Nkunku, I'm a big fan of. It didn't work out there for them. Disasi, I've mentioned. Mince. Nicholas Jackson was the worst money that Chelsea's ever spent, in my opinion. The guy was terrible. He did barely anything at Villarreal before they spent this money on him, and he would have been in charge of that. David Washington, 16 million, didn't kick a ball. Rom Lukaku, I don't think he needed a scout for that, although I think that's a loan situation. And who else are we looking at? Let's go to the next page and we'll look at one more window because I'm not too sure all of the guys' involvement. And yeah, just some back guys here. So let's go back to the 22-23 season. And this will all be under Todd Bowley as well, which is post Roman Abramovich. And you guys will know Chelsea have been spending money that's going out of fashion. Wesley Fofana, they spent 80 million quid on, who's always injured. Koulibaly was a great signing, actually, for a short time. Badiashile, I quite like Badiashile, but 40 million euros. In terms of strikers, I don't think Madueke comes into that picture. Aubameyang does, so they bought Aubameyang, Felix, Datro Fofana, 12 million on Datro Fofana from Molde. Just tells you the spending power Chelsea have in these markets that we don't have, you know. And Levi Colwell, that was a loan situation. Who else? Malang Sarr, no. I'll maybe look at one more. But again, I'm not seeing anything good here. He's not brought anyone to Chelsea at central defence or striker that, I couldn't have found. And I'm not saying that to big me up, but just like, if you watch Brazilian football, Estevão and Andre Santos were blatantly the top picks, you know, like, Sol, I don't think that comes on him. Centre-backs and strikers. Michy Batshuayi, that's a loan thing. Miazka, that's a loan thing. Yeah, I don't think there's much here to go on. So I like the appointment in a sense, right? But this guy isn't going to fix everything. This guy isn't a transfer guru to the same extent that we see some other clubs really operate with. Bring him on. I'm really happy to see him coming in. Hopefully bring some new ideas and a fresh energy to the situation. And yeah, like, bring it on. I hope he does a great job. I really do. I wish him all the best. But I don't want anyone to get it twisted and think this is some sort of mega scout that knows all the up and coming emerging talents. He's spending Chelsea's money and he's looking at Chelsea level centre backs and strikers. He's then looking at Chelsea level connections. Now, what Chelsea level connections are, prospects in South America is pretty high level guys, you know, that you're going to buy for, 10, 20 million and hope to sell them for 100 million. So being aware of who the guys were in the frame, and yeah, maybe some of them don't make the grade at Chelsea, maybe some of them could make the grade at us. again, there's advantages to this. I really don't mind it. But yeah, just to kind of clarify, from the digging I've done into the guy, looks good. I'm happy he's in the club. Let's see how well he does. But I don't think it's a magic fix. Celtic don't do mega. You can say that again. Yep, exactly. Wouldn't be surprised if we brought Ollie Burke. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. Tabi or not to Tabi, that is the question. I would like listen, £2 million, sign him. I've not got a problem with him individually. And yeah, that's right. Actually, they don't have that. There's no problem with again. I've not got a problem with Tabi as a person or anything like that. I am Abada worked out well, and if we'd fall, and I know the Israel thing's a touchy subject, right? But if we'd also signed Oscar Gluck and Daniel Peretz from Israel, you know, that would have followed up a strategy, and we would have had we'd had a good keeper and attacking midfielder come out of there. But again, it's the guys that will jump on the boat. That's who we're signing, and that's the sad part of it all. Elliot Watt, I cannot imagine that we're not talking to Motherwell right now, trying to get him in. He's exactly what we need. Yeah, the contacts element is a very good, very, very good value add that he brings to the gig. AJSC Tech, great contribution to the chat. And I say I'm not throwing the guy in the shade or anything like that, but don't think that this is changing anything really for me personally. And there was something else I was going to throw up on screen. I can't remember what it was now. I was on the Tab E page. It might have been. But yeah, I've seen 1,000 guys like this go to Belgium over the years. Some of them look great in pre-season and then they never actually kick a ball. So the fact that Genk are involved, like I say, I don't take that as some sort of seal of approval. These guys sign tons of guys all the time you've never heard of that never play. Some of them make it, some of them don't. But if they can sell one of them to Wolves for 30 million quid, jackpot. That's kind of the game we're playing as well, sadly. But yeah, the Maria, I think Maria would probably fix a little bit of the defence. A guy like that anyway. And if you're going to be cheap on him, you're going to be cheap on Tabi. Again, it just means more resources has to go into the striker area. More resources has to go into midfield. And again, if that's the trade-off that we've got here, I'm not overly against it. But I just cannot believe we're maybe going to wait till the end of January to go and bring somebody in. Datro Fofana was heavily linked to us as well. I see somebody's mentioning them there as well. We could have that many players on the pitch in that graph and still not keep a clean sheet. That's a good point. Dermot, yeah. Shop local. I don't mind a bit of shop local, but I think that we're not in that situation at the moment. We have the money, we have the resources. And if we're getting into the Champions League group stages in the current format that it's in, like Celtic should be. He does have a wee bit of the Paul Johns about him, doesn't he? He's got a wee bit of the Paul Johns. Yeah, we kind of spoke about that in a bit more detail at the tip-off, buddy, if you're just joining us now on Tabi. Don't look at Brighton. Pretty sure Caicedo, McAllister. Yeah, like again, very good scouting network, getting ahead of the crowd. And then when they see a guy they want, they get him. They don't mess about like we do. Exactly. We feel like we're very much in a price bracket now, don't we? And fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I can see that too. So, where do we go from here? Like I say, we had on the channel over Christmas a 3-part transfer special. There's a wee playlist for it. It's quite easy to find on the channel itself. And I also spent a bit of time going through some other bits and bobs that are maybe, what's the word? Parallel to the situation that we're talking about just now. If I just look at the channel quickly, and if you go to playlists, Nancy X January, there's 3 videos in there if you want to check that one out. We've got the collab CSC, so we've had lots of great contributors on the channel from other channels, and we've did some collaborations. So those 2 playlists could be some good food for thought for you guys if you're kind of new to the channel, you've not been up to speed with all the content. And then I did this goalkeeper one where we're chatting about Schmeichels and Sinisalos and whatever. So again, feel free to keep up to speed with them. I don't want to repeat anything I've said in those videos, which is why I referenced them real quickly. But the first one in the series has got 13k views. Yeah, this one, we kind of talk about the depth, the positions, the budget we have. And well, I'm with you. Like I take the comment as fair game, James, but like we all know the objective is to win the league. We all know the object that like so I'm kind of using that as the standard. That's what that's what the club tell us that we want to do. This is what we all believe we should be doing as a club. So I'm just kind of talking about it in that context, James. I'm not and even like if you are approaching players, it's not as if we've not been in the Champions League for the last 3 or 4 seasons in a row. It's kind of just all I'm getting at with this. Um uh, yeah, so I'm trying to keep up with the chat as well. It'll be a right buzz when we win the league by 10 points. Let me tell stories to myself. Yeah. But again, like I had myself in that headspace. Like, imagine we won the league. Would all this be worth it? And again, I come back to no. If we're still going to keep doing the same crap year after year, this penance that we're paying, this pain that we're going through, and surely the club has to feel like Andy Dufresne escaping Shawshank right now, and they're going through on their elbows and knees. They've got to be telling themselves, we're going to get through all the shit here, and when we get through it, everyone is going to see that we were right. We had a plan, and we did great by Celtic. That's what they have to be telling themselves. You have to believe, and that means we get back to the Champions League. You know, that means that we're talking to players about playing Champions League football. Everyone signs some duffers, don't they? I'm not sure if Stevie Woods is away. Yeah. We've missed a few domestic talents over the years already. So yeah, I'm kind of. I just wanted to talk on Ta Bi. Like, welcome to Celtic. If he comes, no harm to him. Hopefully he's good. Hopefully he's great. Hopefully he gives us something that we don't have, which is a right winger. Maybe Yangs became that all of a sudden. Maybe Maria can come in and give us a wee bit more defensive. And you know, maybe one thing that is somewhat what would the word be? Reason to be enthusiastic is that Inamura out, GSP out, Ta Bi and Araujo maybe in. It's not even the 5th of January yet. We are doing some stuff kind of quickly, which is a bit reassuring, but it's low priority. It's low hanging fruit. It's stuff that doesn't really change the situation, doesn't really move us forward in any way, shape, or form. And I've got a real big, strong feeling that Celtic are going to need to get a lot more players out before we bring more in. Like, I think the Araujo JSP is the one in, one out. We've got a lone defender out, one more in, easy peasy. Inamura, we loan him out, and then we bring in like maybe a Maria to balance that out, you know. And I don't think we're going to get many incomings without outgoings. I do think the club has been on record a few times saying it's the biggest wage budget ever. And even when you look at all these players blooming on the screen, we do have a bloated squad. Between these three lads, only one of them can stay. I'm picking Osmond right now, although he's injured. Kenny, I think, has kind of had his crack at the whip. Shin should be going back to Japan, or we should loan Shin somewhere, Belgium or Portugal or something. And again, like Inamura, I don't mind us buying guys for cheap. And if they don't work here, we work them in the market well. Kenny's got a new contract. Again, it's part of the reason I didn't mind that happening, where you can, like, we made money on Tilio. You know, we made money on Lagerbielke just about. We are going to make money on O eventually. And I don't mind that if we have if we have an exit strategy on, okay, well, we'll loan this guy out. We've paid so little for him, it'd be quite hard to lose money, sort of thing. So could we do a bit of that with, I don't know, yeah, like Shin, get him out on loan, wait for Osmond to come back fit. Maybe you just keep Kenny in the building till end of season and move him in the summer window. Bernardo, but loan or sell. Odenholm, loan or sell. I don't think there's really anyone else you would overly like kick out the door. Maybe Balakwisha feels like he's a big expense. He's not going to be on cheap wages. It cost a few quid. And if he is like, if his head's gone, maybe that's something we need to get moved before we'll spend more money again. And again, this is the problem with Celtic. We have the money in the bank, the rainy day fund, as they call it. And the reason to have that is so that you can be more agile in the market. You don't need to sell. You don't need to reduce the wage budget until you bring guys in. And I don't mean that overall, because if we just signed guys all January and didn't sell anyone, then yeah, we might overstretch. We might have a wee bit of FFP come to bite us on the backside eventually at some point or whatever. But if we know, like, we're going to be selling a few guys and we need to buy some guys, just do it. Just do it, you know. That's what the money in the bank is for. We're not got a cash flow problem. We're not Rangers. We're not a poor team that needs to wait on money coming in from Champions League, from UEFA, or we need to wait from shareholder money, or we need to wait to sell guys before we bring people in. We don't need to do any of that stuff. We have every advantage, every tool at our disposal, everything a club like Celtic could possibly want. So yeah, I think there's room for a couple of outgoings. I'm not sure how much money would be brought in from them, but Celtic are already £25 million, euros, whatever, in profit in the 25-26 season. They cannot finish the January window in profit. They have to spend money this year. Yeah. Apart from the people to use the tools. Yeah, fair enough. That's a great point. Provo, we have all the tools at our disposal, but we don't have a tradesman anywhere, do we? We've got DIY homers, don't we? Mulligan should be a top target. That's not going to happen, but that will not happen now. Ta Bi and Araujo, we are not signing Josh Mulligan. Quinny, I don't think we can spend most of our war chest cash as it doesn't qualify as revenue. So when it comes to the FFP stuff that we are restricted to, it's the UEFA ones. Scotland doesn't have FFP. So the UEFA, can we go and get an AI summary for it here? Designed to stop football clubs from spending more than they earn, ensuring financial stability, running a 3-year break even, where spending, wages, transfer fees doesn't vastly exceed income. So any 3-year window we want to look at, like, we're cool. We have been making money. Now, I don't know what the 3-year windows go like, because it can be quite tricky sometimes how they pan out. I think it's just on a rolling, continual basis. Why do we not get a bloody Celtic? But in this current transfer window, if we think about the 3-year cycle from where we're at right now, again, wages and revenue, I've maybe not got that at my fingertips, but we've made 15 million euros on transfers. We had 5 million pounds come from Jeremy Frimpong. Where's that bit again? Sorry, let's look at all transfers. Again, if we're thinking about the 3-season window, we go to last season. We made 10 million. And if we look at the season before that, we made 18 million, call it 19. So 19, 10, and 20. We've got like 50, 60 million pound of grace. Yeah, he's in that kind of category. Everyone's after Gogic, honestly, guys. Gogic is the sort of player that if we had at Celtic and you weren't clambering for him, you'd be like, why have we got guys like Gogic who's just a hatchet? One of those beautiful contradictions of being a Celtic fan again. Elliot Watt's the only one to look at. Cammy Devlin's impressive now. Don't get me wrong on that, but Elliot Watt has techers. He's got a bit more techers for me. Yeah. I thought Engels was great in the first half in the weekend. I think in this system he could be very good. But Engels is not a guy that can run a game. He's not a grab the game by the scruff of the neck type midfielder. He is, again, for lack of a better expression, I'll just call him fair weather. Like if we're a good team and we're bossing somebody, he's a really strong contributor. But he's not a guy that's going to change the dial, change the momentum of a match. And I said this as well on the breakdown, it'll be out tomorrow, but I think, and I said that in the live stream yesterday, but we're not going to sack Nancy. until the club think it's cheap enough to sack him whenever his release clauses become active after 3 months or 6 months, end of season, whatever. We're not going to be sacking him. Although we could sack him, we've got the money to sack him now. The club value their money too much. And see if it costs £1 million to sack him today or £500,000 to sack him the 1st of May. The club want to keep that £500,000. They value that, and I'm making these numbers up. I say it in the breakdown as well. But they value that money more than points. So they're not going to do it. Really? Really? Ben Doak wants to come to Celtic? I find that hard to believe. He's injured at Bournemouth, and Bournemouth just are about to sell Semenyo. And yeah, please link me to it, but I don't think that's reality. Tierney is a player we should have signed in the first place. Jesper Karlsson at Aberdeen is a player we should have been in for as well. Like, it would be funny in some ways, wouldn't it? But I don't know if I would take him at Celtic. Just for the history of it all, you know, the water bottles and crap, you know. But yeah, I think that's me just about out of steam. I think we've kind of covered the bases. Ta Bi, maybe Maria in, Inamura, JSP out, and maybe a few more things to follow. And like, honestly, like, I can't say it enough. We need a striker. We need a striker yesterday. When is it? Our next fixtures? Actually, this is like, I remember doing this before when we were talking about Wilfried Nancy, that he had to get to the derby because after the derby, Celtic had a full week off before the next game. So this should give the manager. I seen he was at Loch Lomond today, taking in the beautiful loch, as it were. From the picture, it looked at the Duck Bay. I'm not too sure where he was, but yeah, not until the 10th. So yeah, full week. We played Dundee United at home before Falkirk away. These are 2 games, and then Auchinleck. Like, and you know, like I said this at the time, Bologna are not a big threat. Like, maybe now it's a bit different, right? But we have to win the 3 games before Bologna. And if we do, we could do something there. We've then got the revenge game for Nancy with Hearts. We then have Utrecht. And that's January. It's going to be busy. We've had 1 game already. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in January. Yeah, I feel that way too. I do feel it. Like, I do feel like we're screwed, but was it Ballard train station? Okay. I don't really think we're in the market for an Owen Beck now. And with the lack of step up he's made in the absence of coming to us, I'm not really too bothered about that. Yeah, no, that's a good point, Jai. Or G. Ah, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So guys, here we go. We're into January. The breakdown will be out tomorrow. We had a reaction stream yesterday, so stay tuned and check out all that content that's on the channel if you've got something else you want to get stuck into, or you want to hear me talk about some of this stuff in a bit more detail. See, I hate repeating myself. When there's a dedicated video you can listen to and watch, and feel free to type into the comments and give me your interactions with it as well. So tomorrow we'll have the Rangers breakdown that'll be out live. I'll be on Axom tomorrow as normal on a Monday. And then I'm not too sure how we're figured for the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll probably be tackling some more transfer news and developments. I have a really big collab that was lined up for this week. Just need to confirm it. We should have that this week. And yeah, plenty more to get stuck into. Yeah, thanks again to everyone that's tuned in. Welcome, Ta Bi. Let's see what else happens. See you later, GSP. And in a while, Crocodile to Inamura. I think Calmac is off. There's definitely, like, you can hear, I heard Luke McCowan's thing on the radio with Clyde after the game. You can clearly tell the players are not convinced. And I think that's just it's a losing situation. It's like I've said a few times in this. What is the point in persevering? You would persevere with Nancy if you're Celtic, if you're Celtic fans, if you believed the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be better and different to the versions of Celtic we've had in the past, we can actually consistently qualify for the Champions League, consistently take on teams in Europe, we can consistently do things in the transfer market that we've not done in the past. That would be the point in persevering with Nancy, if you're a fan or if you're part of the club. I've kind of came to the realization earlier today, yesterday, I think it was today, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think we get, let's say Nancy works, right? Let's just imagine that. Let's say we win the league, Nancy works. I don't think our future is any different than what it was under Rodgers, Ange, even Martin O'Neill. We're going to do the same stuff. The board are not going to change. This is the time they should be putting cards on the table and like pushing it out and like, guys, listen, we are trying, we are doing it. Look who we've just signed, and we fought off all this competition to get the guy that we need, and he's excited to be here, and that's not happening. It's never going to happen. And then by consequence, sticking it out with Nancy is not worth it. It's not going to get us anywhere. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'd love it to work out. I'd love it to be like we do it. We move into a new chapter and we can be more competitive and we sign smarter in the window, and nothing's changing, man. Nothing's changing. Maybe John Walker-Bell might help us. You know, a wee bit of a fingers crossed for that one. Maybe John Walker-Bell is a Tisdale replacement, and maybe there is I know he's been highlighted as the Lefevre replacement, but you know, Tisdale was pictured at the derby. He was on some sort of holiday in December. I was kind of speculating with Paul John that might be him cashing in his holiday before he serves his notice. Doesn't feel like that's the case, but you never know. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm kind of rambling into nowhere now. I'd love to win the lottery too. Imagine, let's see if a Celtic fan won the Euro Millions. Would that fix our problems? Is that what? Should we start a syndicate on the Euro Millions, and we all agree that if anyone wins it, we buy Celtic? That may be something we could do. Anyway, I'll catch you tomorrow for the breakdown. I'll see you on Axon for a bit of chat, and we'll have a big week ahead. Thanks everyone who tuned in. Like, subscribe, share, retweet. Hail, hail. Have a great day. On the hoops. Hey, don't shoot. Hey, don't shoot.